everyone, welcome to the post-game show. That was insanely close.
That was insanely close.
I don't know how much closer you can get to that. I was kind of wondering what would happen. We'd have to look at the rules officially, but so just to summarize, it was an Orcs victory.
It was an Orcs victory.
But I had one model with one model with one wound left on the table.
Yep.
And what would happen, we'd have to look it up, but we're both pretty sure we're right. If you table me, but I'm winning, and you went first.
Yep.
I win.
Yeah, you just go straight by, best of my knowledge, you just go straight by the point. So, whatever's left there. I mean, this was a bizarre game. There was just a bloodbath all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, there was the lone orc standing. But he had done all the stuff he had to get done.
Yep. Yeah, and he was my warlord.
Yeah. Oh. If I just killed him, that alone would have given me an extra 3 points, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, so close. So close.
So very close. That's what I like about Maelstrom War. Sometimes they can be really close like this. And what I really like is it does force, it forces you to change your strategy throughout the game, and also forces you to be more aggressive.
Well, with my IG list I've got, one of the things that I was really trying to do was to be able to get to those objectives that I needed to get to for a Maelstrom of War mission. This was sort of my first real attempt at it.
Yeah.
And it's a tough slog, because you can't go close enough to be assaulted, but you still need to be able to get to things.
Yeah, and that was my biggest problem. My list was so slow, and then you seized on me. I went first, I deployed first, you seized the initiative, and then my first turn movement, I only moved my cans 3 inches.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
And just having all those big pie templates dropping down on you, and when you get slowed down, that gives me the chance to drop even more on you.
Yeah.
And I mean, the killer cans were just evaporating.
Yes, you wiped out, I think, 3 turn 1 alone.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing to me was, I moved out my Morkanaut because I had to move him up. I didn't honestly think you were going to destroy him in a one shot, but he did.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of dice he had to go through because he had to hit, and then pen, and then I got my 4-up invul, and then he had to roll a 5-up, I think, because it was Melta.
Yep.
So 5-up, and I was like, okay, he's probably going to survive. Maybe I'll need to fix him with my mech, who's right behind him. And then you moved up, and it was just like...
Yeah, as soon as he was gone too, that really gave me the freedom to just be able to sit back and just fire at leisure.
Yeah, you picked... The biggest problem I'm having with putting my guys in my Morkanaut is he's not an assault vehicle. So once you destroyed him, you had 2 free turns of just picking on my knobs who couldn't do anything.
Yep.
And it's so brutal when knobs are just going down, and there was not really anything I could do. I just hid behind a rock, but I hid the best I could behind line of sight, blocking terrain.
Yeah.
Who would have been your MVP?
You know, probably that vet squad. Just because that
Was pinnacle.
Morkanaut, there was nothing I could really do except for vet squad in a Chimera driving up and getting lucky. And that was really the only chance I had.
It was really good. For me, probably my Warlord, because of his 4-up invul, he kept everyone alive, and I was just rolling 4s and 5s galore. And that's the thing, it's one of those games where my strategy is essentially I'm relying on an invul save, because I know I'm not going to get any armor, and cover's going to be hard too. And if I roll well, I do well, and if I roll poorly, I'm gone.
Yep.
And that's the Orc way.
Yeah.
They're still good in close combat, Orcs are, but not as good as they once was. And it's really hard because I had to face so much firepower.
Well, and I think you kind of saw a bit of the diminished orc assault in this game. I mean, they did pretty good against the IGN assault, but there was still a couple of spots there where they got held up just against IG. You know, 1 attack, toughness 3, 5-up saves.
Or AM.
Or AM, yeah.
I know, it's weird. Those people, I don't think any Games Workshop people Origins. It's always going to be IG to us.
Oh, yeah.
But,
well, especially when I'm fielding models that are, 25 years old. Yeah, it's never going to change.
I know. I still say Sisters of Battle as well.
Yep, yep.
Of course, then they went... did they get another name? They were Sisters of Battle at one point. They were also not...
Adeptus Sororitas.
But there was another name, I believe, as well. At one point, I remember there was maybe a third name in there. It was like Grey Hunters were called... No, sorry, not Grey Hunters. Grey Knights were called something else as well at one point. I don't remember. It's all good.
Oh, Witch Hunters.
Witch Hunters. That's what I was thinking of. Witch Hunters. There we go. It was Grey Hunters. Not Grey Hunters. And Grey Knights were also called something else as well at that point. Maybe not. Maybe they're just Grey Knights. And then there's Witch Hunters. Yeah.
Yeah, and Witch Hunters were basically Inquisition of the day.
Yeah. Exactly. That was good stuff. Anything you would have done differently? Your strategy was good.
My strategy was good, but the one thing I felt my Psyker did absolutely nothing all day or all game except for actually hinder. I don't think I'd ever do Fearless again. But I was really looking forward to doing the Psychic Shriek, particularly on knobs or something like that. And I just was prepared. I had him stuck away in a corner and he couldn't do anything.
No. I loved those two fortifications.
Oh,
they are awesome and they're dirt cheap.
Yep. Yeah.
75, you said, and 85?
75 for the Punisher Cannon and 85 for the Demolisher or Battle Cannon.
People, if you want to lose friends, take 3 of the Demolishers for, what is it 85 points?
You can take a maximum of 2.
Oh, there you go. If you want to lose friends, bring 2 and don't tell your friends about it until the game begins.
Yeah, and put Demolisher Cannons on them.
Yeah, and at the very
The
back.
Battle Cannons, yeah.
Yeah, I did like the fact that I could kind of control them a little bit by just sticking my Morkanaut out front. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on. But, yeah.
Yeah, the whole automated fire thing. So probably the Morkanaut sucked up, probably about 2 rounds worth of fire where I just didn't even bother rolling because AV13, Strength 5, I'm not doing anything.
No, exactly. But once the Morkanaut was out of place, it was just like, uh-oh, now they can start firing things.
Yeah. The real pain with them, too, is, I mean, the AV14 all the way around, they got 3 hull points, just like the Lehman Russ.
Yeah.
Basically, the stationary Lehman Russ that you're paying half the points for.
But they have a great range.
They've got, well, the Punisher Cannon, not so much, but the Battle Cannon is, 72 inches, I think, so essentially board. And they're just great additional fire. And you can kind of manipulate where they're going to fire based on, shooting other units first and hopefully wiping out stuff you don't want to have to shoot at and then try and get a bit of a richer target.
Yeah, other thing that was really surprising to me was, I know there's a reason why, but First Blood came really late. It was bottom of 2 or 3? Bottom of 2, I think?
And it was on Rough Riders, a 65-point unit.
I had to pick on them really badly and fire a lot of stuff at them.
Now, usually with my Rough Riders, I keep them back as more of a counter-assault unit, but for this one, I felt I really needed to push them out to try to do something with the other objective. I probably should have just kept them back and maybe taken one of the Chimeras and put forward a little bit more, but...
I don't know. I like the fact that you moved them up because to me, if they survived, they would have been one of the units that you could use in Maelstrom of War. Fast units are key. In your list, they were like the fastest other than your flyer.
Yep.
My fastest model was Orcs during the Wa.
Well, the Chimeras, you can move, 18 inches a turn with them? So
yeah.
They're pretty fast, but what I'm finding really with the IG for the Maelstrom of War is you really, much like with the older missions, you really have to think those 2-3 turns ahead. It was such a close game.
It was really close. That's all that can be said. It was one model. I've won and I've lost a few games with one model on the table, and it's always fun. And it was really close. And that's I do find Maelstrom sometimes late in the game it just snowballs in the favor, especially whoever's just has more models on the table can snowball your opponent because you have 4 or 5 cards in your hand now, and you'd be like, And plus, if you didn't knock me off that one objective, we looked at the card I would have picked up, and it would have been an automatic. It was if all of them were exposed random objectives, you had a point, which we did. Turn 1, we had all of them exposed. It's okay. So. Yeah, so thank you very much once again for coming in. Hearty handshake to you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We got to get Dave back because he's the only David in this area apparently. So you have to represent all Davids and Peterborough.
Or Bridge North.
Or Bridge North. Yeah. Are you the only wargamer in Bridge North?
I think so. I could very well be.
If you're in Bridge North, people. Now the problem is, I think there's a Bridge North, England.
Oh.
That people might be like, but that happens a lot. Peterborough.
Well, same with Peterborough, England.
Yeah. I know. It sucks looking at instructions sometimes. And you're like, how could I be that close? Oh yeah. No, it's Britain. We're not that close to a Games Workshop. So, thank you, Roach, once again for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this battle report, and stay tuned for more. Until next time, this is Jay and
Dave
saying, happy painting.